Good
Karen.
morning. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm fine, Barbara. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
We're here today,
To read a book and do an art project all about that book.
and just for you. So we're ready to go.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Karen.
Welcome.
Good morning. Today we're going to read the story Cambridge. And Cambridge is a single, unpublished, and personal photo book written by and with the photos taken by Barbara Tam. And it was a gift to her grandson. The stuffed animals shown in the book are created and manufactured by the company Jellycats and is their exclusive property. We share this book with you as a community service. Cambridge. One fine sunny day, Cambridge looked out the window and thought about all the adventures waiting for him. And he thought about all the many things that he liked to do best. One thing Cambridge liked was books. He read books every day, and he had favorites. He especially liked to go to the library to look for books. The library let him take books home, and then he could bring them back and get more. He thought that was just wonderful. Cambridge read his books all over the house. Sometimes he read his books sitting up straight in a chair. Sometimes he liked to lie on his tummy. And sometimes he even read books in bed. But Cambridge liked to read best with a special someone, like with his good friend, Artie. Cambridge liked machines and tools, and he wanted to know how everything worked. There was a lot to know. He thought that locks and gears and bolts and wheels and big equipment was really interesting. Cambridge liked little trains and cars and trucks too. Sometimes at the museum, he got to see some. He liked to look through the glass cases where you could see the vehicles inside. But he wished the glass was not there so he could touch them. Cambridge was curious about big clocks and old telephones too. He thought about the numbers. Why are the numbers going like that? Why are they going round and round, he wondered. And Cambridge really liked art. He liked to draw and paint. He liked to cut and glue. He liked to use tools to make things. Stacking blocks was something Cambridge did whenever he was in between doing something and doing something else. He liked to try to stack them tall, very tall, and he looked at them differently. Then Cambridge remembered that he was still looking out the window, and lots of thinking time had gone by. Thinking is something I like to do too, he said. I think when I am watching the computer or counting the colored beads or remembering the name of the flowers, I'm thinking. And I think I am brave when I climb up very high and I'm a little bit afraid. But it is a good, fun kind of afraid. It tingles inside. And sometimes I don't think at all, thought Cambridge. Sometimes I just like to look. And then Cambridge thought about his friends. and what they each liked best. He knew that December liked playing ball and doing puzzles. And Artie liked looking at pictures. Tor liked to climb trees and seeing his shadow and standing in puddles. Cambridge remembered that he liked lots of things. And so did his friends. He was curious about lots of things too, and so were his friends. They all liked bicycles and little tomatoes and stones and hearing the wind in the leaves. Then Cambridge wanted to go outside and to find his friends and like their favorite things together. And so he did. The end.
Hi. Today it's all about Cambridge. Cambridge is a very brave lion. It's difficult for him, isn't it, to be brave sometimes? It's difficult sometimes to be brave when we do art. It's as if we sometimes feel we have to make it perfect. It has to be something that we keep forever. But that's not true. Sometimes we sketch, we play with materials, we fool around with different tools. Like, what will this brush do? What if I do that with my pencil? What will happen? It's an adventure of discovery. It's not so much about making something that you're going to put on the wall or keep. Sometimes we do art to keep. Maybe we're making a special birthday card and we want to make it just perfect. So when we give it to grandma or mama or a cousin or a friend, they will like it too. But most of the time, just like Cambridge, we try new things. We take an adventure together and we explore. And sometimes we do it with friends and family, and sometimes we do art all by ourselves. All of that is good. And I think the most important thing is about the doing of it, the making of it. Not so much what we end up with, but how it feels inside. And Cambridge, that's the way Cambridge feels. It's about adventure. So today, we're going to be inspired by Cambridge and magic machines. We're going to design a magic machine today. So today, you'll need a large piece of white paper, a Sharpie in black, and if you have them, either some stickers, little tiny ones, or some crayons or colored markers, or even colored pencils. Today our project's going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to draw upside down and backwards. You might not have done that before. The first thing I need to do is think about what a machine is. Sometimes it's a good idea to think about what something isn't. For instance, a machine is not a tree. It's certainly not my dog. A machine usually does something, doesn't it? In the kitchen, you may have some machines that stir things or cook things or mix things up, slice things. Those are machines. Sometimes machines, and most of them I think, have motors or engines. We're going to design a magic one today. And when we're done, we're going to decide what that machine does. But for now, all we're going to think about is making dark black lines on a white piece of paper and thinking about different shapes. We all know the shapes that have names, like circles, rectangles, and triangles. And we're going to use some of those. In fact, I'm going to start with that. I think I'll be brave, Cambridge, and just start. How about a triangle right here? Yes. I want to make my lines end nicely. Maybe a circle here. My circles aren't perfect circles, that's for sure. But maybe I'll make a couple of them together. Maybe 3 of them of different sizes, like that. I'm going to draw some lines that go from one of my shapes down to the bottom edge of the paper. So again, you probably need to have an underpaper or a plastic on your table today. Now, I'm not thinking of a machine right now. I'm only thinking about shapes. And I'm drawing one line to the edge of another line to make those shapes. I can't do this wrong because this is a machine that's never been invented before. This is my machine. You're doing your machine. Maybe that's a different looking thing. Maybe that's a wheel. Now, after I've drawn for a little while, sometimes making straight line shapes, sometimes making round ones. I put some round ones up here. I don't know why, because right now it doesn't matter. I'm going to change the paper direction. When I do that, it helps me see my project differently. Because this is an abstract, meaning even though we can say the name of circle, square, rectangle, and so on, it isn't actually a picture of something. It's not a tree. It's not a portrait of my dog. It's not a drawing of a subject, of a thing. It's shapes and patterns. Wow, I think I'm going to have something in here that gets bigger and smaller and smaller and smaller, like that. I might turn it again. I can turn it several times in any direction. Now let's see. Sometimes I have to close my eyes because it helps my eye memory to remember what I'm thinking and imagining. I'm imagining. It's a very special thing to do. I'll do something like this. Sometimes I have to stop my pen and start because I don't really know where I'm going with my line. So I may have to stop and then, oh yeah, and then, oh yeah, okay. Oh, this one's going way out here. This is wild. Oh yeah, all the way out here. See? But I had to stop on that one a few times just to think about where my line was going. Will you notice that I don't have any tails? You know, sometimes you could have a tail, like, maybe just about here, I'm going to do one of those things that looks like that, because maybe it's a brush of some kind that's part of my machine, and it's brushing something clean. I don't know. But most of the time, my lines stop and start against another one. Now, let's see. If you've ever been to a factory or place where things are made, it's really fascinating. Sometimes it's a lot of noise. Cambridge didn't like noise. I'm not terribly fond of it either. But when you go there, you can see things being made. All of these ramps and wheels turn and clank and create the object. objects that are being made there. And each machine has to be designed for a specific purpose. Like your toaster. At home, your toaster toasts things. Maybe it bakes things if you have a bake setting. But it's not a car, is it? You can't drive it down the street. It's not a bicycle. It's not a refrigerator. Machines have specific purposes. I wonder what mine's going to be when I'm done. You might want to stop the video for a moment and complete your project. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I finished my machine drawing. Now I have to think about what it might be making, what it might be doing. Sometimes it takes me a little while to think, and having something to remind me helps. Remind me of something I might have seen or a place that I went. I have some stickers, and I found these stickers in a drawer and thought, I could use stickers to show what's being made. I did that on an earlier project. This is another machine I did, and I decided this machine would make stars. So I put some stars on it to show what the machine was making. But today, I don't think I want to use the stickers. I'm going to use some markers, and I'm going to decide, is this machine making some food like donuts, or is it making something like parts of a bicycle, or I don't know. Let me think. What was in Cambridge? Cambridge really liked clocks. He does. So I think maybe my machine is going to make all kinds of different shaped clocks. Maybe watches. A lot of people wear those today. Where do I start? Where do I start? Well, I think up here there may be some clock faces. So I might make some circles with little hands that look like clocks. You know, just not the numbers. I can't see the numbers, just the... I'm talking about those wall clocks, not digital clocks. The old-fashioned kind. Maybe you have one on your oven, or maybe you have one on your wall. So in this space, I'm going to put some clock faces. Okay, now those are the ones that aren't yet painted, and I think they're going to need to be painted orange. So I'm going to imagine that this down here are the paints, and when they get brushed from the brushes, the clock faces will turn orange. So now I'm going to make some clock faces that come out to dry. I think I'm running out of ink. And these are all stacked up, all drying and ready for the next step. What's the next step? What is this making over here, I wonder? Maybe it's making cases for the clocks. Or maybe it's making wristbands for the clocks. What else are there in clocks? The parts on the inside. And maybe this machine also makes digital clocks. It's all up to my imagination what the final will be, just as it is up to your imagination to finish your project any way you like. I'm going to take a little while and finish this, and I hope you finish yours and share it. And I hope you enjoyed our project today. See you again soon.